Well, good morning, good people. Thank you, Lord, for another beautiful day. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Don't let a day go by without thanking God for the opportunities that you have. As artists, we are blessed specifically by the Lord, our God, with the talents and gifts that we have. The talent and gift that I have, I would not have if it were not for the Lord in my life, if it were not for God having blessed me with talents and gifts. But remember, every person has something special from God. Every person. I don't care who you are, you have something that no one else has. You have something unique. And don't forget that. Walk in the light of that. Walk in the knowledge that God has given you something that God thinks enough of you. He thinks enough of you to give you something that no one else has. Even your personality, who you are, is unique. God is so big. He is bigger than anything that our minds can conceive of. So, yeah, I know I'm preaching you a sermon. Say, hey, I thought this was about drawing. Well, it is about drawing. But I want you to also know that it's also about living. And God cares about every person. So I just wanted to take a time to mention that. So I thank you, Lord, once again for a good day. So we're moving forward on our scene here. And I think, yeah, we got a little bit more to do. See how far we get today. We're working in Rough Animator, by the way. And for those of you who are new to this series, I'm working, as I work on scenes, I do it day by day. If you want to watch what I'm doing, you can go back and watch previous videos. There's a lot of them, but I cover everything I'm doing in the scene. So I cover the animation, the key drawings, the in between drawings, the color, the cleanup, everything, even editing. So if you're making a film of your own and you're interested in seeing someone do something in real time, that's what I'm doing. Okay. So anyway, there you go. All right. Welcome to my channel. Thank you. All right. So let's see. On to the next one. I'm going to bring this up full size. Um, it's easier to clean up stuff full size for me. I like doing it that way. I have this set for a clean line or a solid line. And if you go to the side here, you'll see right here, you'll see you have a choice of a solid line, airbrush line, or sketchy line. And I'm choosing the solid line to do the cleanup. So when I put the color in, it'll, fill in properly. Um, on cleanup too, in the old days, I'm from the time where we would do cleanup on paper and then we would do a Xerox line and paint to it. And um, when we did our cleanup, we were very, very fastidious about the cleanup, making the line very, very careful. Not the way I'm doing it now. I mean, I'm really kind of diving in here and doing it kind of quickly. And I wanted to mention this because um, I want to sort of. Oh, you know what? Actually, here. See, Nora here is the same in this. She's the same in this drawing as she is in this one. So let's do this. Let's just copy her. So I'll delete that and let's grab Nora. Save us some time here, and we'll go copy, paste. So now we've got Nora. So we didn't have to. That saves us work. There's no need to. Okay. And then over here with Lenny, let's drop this down to 100%. Move over here. So now we might be able to get Lenny's head here. So let's see. We'll grab Lenny's head. You're going to get little other pieces here. We'll go copy, paste, and we'll move Lenny's head so that it's in the proper position. So You can do this. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's fine. All right, and then let's go to full size, and then we'll move Lenny over here so that we can make the changes we need to make. So we'll erase out stuff and put things back. Yeah, see, this saves you some time. I mean, there's really no need to. If you've got something that you can copy, then do it. Anyway, what I was saying before, what I was into saying a minute ago was that when I worked at Disney years ago, we did everything was done on paper. And so um, what that meant was that we would have to do a very, very um, careful cleanup drawing. Then that drawing would be Xeroxed, placed on acetate cells, and painted by hand. We did not have, as we have today, we didn't have um, we didn't have Xerox, we didn't have digital. Like now we have digital paint. You know, we can paint everything digitally. We didn't have that. We had to do uh, we had to do it by hand. So let's see here. I'm gonna put that on the top. So so anyway, because of that, we had to be very very careful with our line. And so what that meant was that we were a lot more particular about how the line would look. So, like you see me just doing the line very straightforwardly here, but back when I was at Disney, that's not what we did. We had to do the line very very carefully, and then it had to actually be inspected by a supervisor, cleanup person, and if something wasn't exactly right, we had to redo it. Um, but uh, I think the thing that I want to get across to you, that I want to say here, is that while that was a good thing and it made us careful, and it goes back into the world of how animation, how we were so fastidious about doing our animation. I'm going to a still line here. So right here on the side, I'm going to a bottom left, or yeah, bottom left. I'm selecting the line that is a straight line here and a color. So this is for the block here. I'm selecting a line tool, which just gives me automatically, allows me to draw a straight line, just like you would in Photoshop. Um, yeah, we we were so careful with our work. The wavy line takes you back to the hand drawn line. We were so careful with our work that that also contributed to why sometimes it would take so long for us to get something done. And what I want to say that is my experience, paint bucket, my experience as a animator over the years has taught me that a lot of the, take the eraser down, a lot of the fastidiousness of what we were doing, I've sort of come to the belief that to some greater or lesser degree, we don't necessarily need to be as concerned about it, because you can look at the finished product and you can see, look on top, you can see, that's to get rid of that little squiggly line, see, you can see that you don't notice it. The mistakes that we make as human beings in doing our animation and cleanup and everything, you really hardly even notice it, to be honest. And so I'm saying that to say that um, I've come to the realization that I think a lot of times we may have made things a lot harder for ourselves than we needed to. Now, what it produced was a very beautiful final image. So I'm not going to apologize for that. You know, if you go back to the great old Disney animations like Snow White and what have you, those things were all done. They were inked and painted, so they were even more fastidious about the line and everything that they were doing. And I think that that made a huge difference. You know, when you look at those pictures, just absolutely excellent. But I guess what I wanted to get across is that a lot of times we are making our own films now, so we don't always have the luxury of the time element. You know, do you want to spend years? You know, you're one person making the film, so you don't have the luxury. You know, say of you're trying to make something that says 10, 50, 5, 10, 15 minutes long. You're talking about thousands of drawings. So you have to pick your battles, I guess, is what I'm saying. And the digital method at least ensures that you can get a lot done a lot quicker. Okay, so now here's another example. So here we got Nora again. She's not really moving. Realistically, we could put her on a health cell, and that would work fine. But if you are working like I am straightforwardly, then since she doesn't move from here to here, same thing, we can copy her. So we grab her here, because see, they're both on the same level. And a lot of this is how you do it too. So we'll go copy, go to the new frame, paste. So we got her there. Same thing with Lenny. We could copy his head here. So let's grab Lenny's head, um, copy, paste. Oops. And then we have to move his face head to match. Okay. There we go. Do save. Make sure you save as much as you can, because my experience has been that when you copy paste a lot, it's something about the program that it will sometimes try to crash and you end up losing a lot of stuff. So be careful. Just make sure that you're copy pasting regularly if you are using that function a lot, just to make sure that you don't lose anything. Okay. Okay. Let's see. But you see, I'm making this line. You see how quickly I'm making it. So that's what I'm sort of mentioning here is um, in the old days, I wouldn't, if I were working on cells or whatever, I wouldn't be making the line that quickly because I'd be trying to get it to be a perfected cleanup line because that's what um, the method that we did required um, careful cleanup because somebody else was going to judge it. Because when I was working on the Fox and the Hound, we had supervising cleanup people. I mean, you had to show them your drawings, and they were real picky. So if a drawing was off or something, you had to redo it. So it's a good, it's a good discipline. So let's see. back to the line tool. There we go. Oops. You can work on top of a line or underneath it. Over here at the bottom, you'll see something here that says draws behind, draws inside, or draws in the front. So if you want a line to work underneath the color, you pick which one you want, whether we're going to work on top of that line or underneath it. Most of the time I'm set behind the line, not always. And then this is the line tool here, but when I hit this again, you see I have choices. I can have an ellipse, rectangle, straight line. The wavy one just brings you back to the hand-drawn line. There we go. Oh, excuse me. All right. Paint bucket to fill in there. Um, see. I'm going to go in front for skin. I like using the, let's see here. I like using the function where I'm going behind. So I can clean things up a little bit better. Sometimes it looks better that way. Let's see. And see here. Oh, okay. See here. I'm going to go in front to get this line here underneath his chin. Yeah, see, that wasn't okay. Yeah. Sometimes I have to go back and do real careful. I'm seeing now there's something in the wrong place here. Let's see if I can fix that this way. Let's see, is that? I didn't do it. Okay. All right, see this part. Let me show you what I'm doing here. Right here. Normally I would have caught this and backed up and deleted or undid and undo on this, but I didn't catch it in time. So undo is better. So I had to go back and erase this. The reason being is that line, the color in the middle there would be wrong. See? So I'm having to go back and redo that, see, because the color wasn't supposed to go down into his jumper like that behind. It's like I'm doing surgery when it gets to stuff like this. All right, then, let's see, because the colors in here. There's your colors. Yeah, see? So I have to match those colors. There we go. Because I'm always having to flip back and forth to make sure I get the right color. A certain amount of, let's see, a certain amount, let me take this down to, let's see. There's a certain amount of errors. The only way you're going to see them sometimes is you have to flip the drawings next to each other to see what what did you copy and what did you miss, because you don't always see it. It's not always obvious. You know, with me, I like to flip back and forth from the previous drawing to see, well, what did I forget? See if we can get a third drawing in here. So, Yeah, okay, same thing. So we've got Laura. We can copy her. So let's go copy, paste, and then with Lenny, same thing. I'd say just the head. Yeah, grab the head, copy, paste. Yeah, I think that's okay. Come in here and erase wherever I think it's a conflict. Yeah, seems like that's, yeah, let's see. I'm going to go back up to fit the window and we'll move them over. So now it looks like Lenny's eye. I could have, it looks like it's asking me to fill that up a little more. I guess it depends. Okay. Also, see, I'm inking a, if you really look at this, I'm inking a drawing that the line work wasn't that great, is rough. That's another thing, is we wouldn't be doing, we wouldn't be cleaning up a rough drawing. Uh, yeah, that's another thing that in the old days is that we would not be cleaning up a rough drawing. We'd be cleaning up. We would do. We wouldn't be inking. Let me put it like that. When you get to the color, you wouldn't be inking a rough drawing. You'd be inking a clean drawing. You know, the drawing, the lines had to be clean before we would ink them, or before they would be Xerox. You know, in the old days, I guess if they were inking like they did where they inked the cells by hand, that had to also be a clean line or a clean image. So yeah, so the the line work had to also be clean line. So even though the line wasn't going to be, say, the uh, actual line that you cleaned up for the inker wasn't going to necessarily, somebody else was going to put a ink line there. You still had to do a clean up, and I guess that would be to encourage the inker's line to match yours. I mean, but everybody was so careful that it was understood that the the maximum amount of, how can we put it, care was being given to making sure that everything was where it should be. From the animators on down. There's a tremendous amount of pride and integrity about what was being created at Disney Company all those years. The amount of work put in. There's a reason why the animation looked as good as it did. There's a reason why the quality of the work was so high, because everybody looked at what they were doing with a certain measure of integrity. Like, let's create the very best work we can. And that was carried into the way we looked at things today. That hasn't changed. And really, actually, it still hasn't. I mean, I've been retired in the business now for several years already, but that integrity of creating the level of quality that Disney company demanded of us stayed with me, and I'm sure it stayed with every artist who's ever worked for Disney. Um, that was just something that was a part of how we thought, and I think it was a good thing to hit the save here. So, all right, well we got three done that time, so we're up to looks like we're at 61 of 90. So we're a little bit more than a third of the way through, two-thirds of the way through. So we're getting there. We should be done. We might be done with this before the week's out. We'll see how it goes. All right, folks. Well, look, have a beautiful day. What's left of it. Don't forget once again to thank God for your talents and gifts. I'll see you all tomorrow, and don't forget, Jesus is Lord.